everyone. I think we have 6:30. Actually, all these clocks have different times. But I'd like to call to order this Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting for Monday, January 6th. Please note that everyone is here with the exception of Alderman Brooks, who is sick tonight, so he will not be here. So if everyone will please stand for the opening prayer by Alderman McKee, and then please remain standing for the pledge.
Let's bow our heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Lord, I just want to lift up our town and our country and all the transition that's about to happen. Lord, I just ask for your peace over our country. And Lord, I just pray for our staff and Lord, our public works and fire department as they're going to be outside in this, the weather the next however few weeks and everything. Lord, I just pray for their safety and for our townspeople, Lord, that you keep them safe as well, Lord, and free of any harm. Lord, I just lift all these things up to you. I just ask for wisdom over the meeting tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Let's see. Mr. Perkins, will you lead us in the pledge, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Better than Kamala.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the December 2nd meeting?
Motion to approve.
I guess I have to say December 2nd of 2024 since we're in 2025. Motion by Alderman McKee, second by Mr. Harmon. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That item passes. Next up, we have grievances and comments from citizens. This is where we allow anybody to come up and speak on any particular topic that they want to talk about. We will give them, on a room like tonight, like up to 3 minutes to speak. Please note that we don't always dialogue back and forth, so it's not necessarily a discussion, so it's a chance for you to address the board. Staff will take note of your request and get back with you if necessary, or it may be covered during the meeting tonight. I think we have one card. If anybody else has a card, you're more than welcome to raise your hand. We can get another card, but I have one card right now, and that is for a Brandon Key. And when I will ask you to come up and state your name and address for the record, please.
Brandon Key, 5711 Chester Street. Just one topic of interest of mine tonight is actually on the agenda tonight. It's I know it's a hard one not to accept donation of land, but that's the item that I'm interested in speaking about. It's of interest to me because I own a little piece of property adjoining the two pieces of property that are being offered by the land bank. I've actually been pursuing this property for about a year now with the land bank, and it was my understanding that it was on hold for a while, and they were able to release it after going before a Shelby County committee to make sure that no other Shelby County government entities were interested in that land. And my understanding was no one responded, and at that point they were able to release the land to the public for sale. And at that point, when I was alerted of that, I placed a contract on those two parcels in question. So when I found out that the town was having a meeting to discuss confirm the interest in accepting the donation, it just a little bit disappointing because I kind of had my heart set on picking up more land for my kids, my family to just enjoy recreationally. So really just wanted to express my interest. I don't know what the intent is of you guys actually accepting the land, but I just wanted to at least express that it was something that was important to me and something that I'd been pursuing, and I really wanted to take an opportunity to purchase that land. And really, I just needed to kind of get that off my chest. I appreciate you guys giving me the time to talk about it. Thank you,
Mr. Key. I appreciate your time. Or anybody else that came in that wanted to speak on any topic? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to communications from the mayor. Sheriff's Department report is on file. I don't see an officer here. Or do it? No. Okay. So Arlington Fire Department report.
Thank you. Good evening. This will be the fire report, activity report for December of 2024. Also included with my report for At the end of December, I gave you the year-end report for all of 2024. So a total of 127 responses for December, 1,272 for 2024. 64 EMS responses, 728 for all the year, 63 fire responses, 544 for the entire year. We gave mutual aid 22 times, which was 293 for the entire year. We received it 6 times for the month of December, which was a total of 55 for the entire year. We made 26 calls south of Interstate 40, 302 for the entire year, and 5 calls on Interstate 40 for the month of December, 118 total for all of 2024. We did a total of 15 inspections for December. I had several things down for fire department activities and updates, but I just want to draw your attention to a few of them. We started 3 new hires today. They'll go through their basic 1664 class, and then we'll put them through a week orientation, probably have them accompany the very last week of January. 2 of them have no training at all. 1 of them has basic firemanship training, but all 3 have to go through MT school. So we're excited to be fully staffed once we get them back up for just a short amount of time. We also received, you guys approved and the town approved a new purchase of SCBA's. So we're phasing away our Draeger packs and we're going to the MSA packs, which has built-in thermal imaging cameras inside the pack itself, which is a big step up for Arlington Fire. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be going through training to get everybody upgraded and implement those new SCBA packs. We also had several town-sponsored events for the month of December. Of course, the parade, Christmas on the Square. We worked closely with all the other departments and went without a hitch, no issues at all. And lastly, of course, everyone knows that our Assistant Chief James McMillan will be retiring on the 17th of January, and we're throwing him a little small, just gathering for everybody to come by and shake a hand, hug a neck, and wish him well. I'm looking forward to you speaking there at 12:30 on Thursday, the 16th. So welcome for you to join us. That completes my report.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief Harville?
I just have one thing to mention. One of the 64 EMS responses was to my house, and everybody's good, but just the professionalism of the firemen. My wife was having an issue, made her feel comfortable. I would say she probably was kind of swooning over the good-looking fireman. And then at one point, my sister-in-law, who was over there with us, reminded them that she was the single sister. But in all seriousness, just appreciate that you guys are so close and you respond so quickly.
Thank you, Alderman Biggs. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
pass that along to you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's always good to hear good news and that everything's fine, not just that your single sister-in-law. So, no. So next up, I think we're supposed to have a presentation from the American Legion, and I didn't see him, but I know Vice Mayor McKee. You're going to talk to the microphone, please, and then he's going to report on it.
If we can we postpone this till next month? There's been a little confusion. They didn't realize it was on the agenda this month.
It's fine. It's easy to do. Roll it to next month. All right. Let's see. Just a couple things. Mrs. Howe, would you like to make a couple of chamber announcements?
Yes. Okay, so luncheon is this Wednesday, and as we've done the last couple of years traditionally, Carrie Vaughn with Love Worth Finding Ministries is going to start us off with our 2025 luncheon schedule. So I hope that you can make it and get to enjoy some good food from Pink Flamingo, and then he's our speaker. Thank you.
What is Pink Flamingo Catering?
Well, since they suspect that you will be there, I suspect that they're doing chicken, but I don't know.
Okay, that sounds great. I'll be there. I will be there.
I-
I'll be there. It's all good.
I never request anything. I just let them do their thing.
Parmesan crusted chicken. No. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Howe. Just a couple of announcements. Again, it seems like, I guess, not the joke that was last year since we met, but a lot's happened with all the events we had during December, the holidays, the hustle and bustle of it. So now it's kind of like January's here. Everybody that basically took off the last 6 weeks or tried to, when I say that, from from my standpoint of meeting with other mayors, legislators, and stuff like that, January is a very busy time. I think every day there's meetings, and so I'm trying to make everything that I can within the group. But so, as much as I love the holidays, I always hate January and February. So the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks will be extremely busy with everybody playing catch up. But we do have some good meetings coming up. We got Region 1 meetings with the area mayors. We've got some stuff about crime labs and other meetings coming up. So a lot of things that maybe don't pertain to Arlington directly, but they do pertain to us as a community as a whole. So it will be busy. But I do, again, want to thank everybody from December, the staff and employees and even the volunteers. Again, we pulled off at the end of November, beginning of December, 3 huge events for the town. Heard nothing but great things from them. Whereas we've said it before, a lot of places are doing away with parades and stuff like that. We were able to pull it off before the rain, most of it before the rain, and still pull that off successfully. So and just so everybody knows, I mean, I've kind of mentioned it to the board before, and Mrs. Reed, I won't get into detail tonight, but as we saw what happened in New Orleans with the events there, and we saw even with some local events in the last year or two in different communities, we are working on we have disaster plans in place, but we are looking at fine-tuning it from a public media standpoint, I guess you would say, on how that's handled, how we would address, because there's just a lot of confusion sometimes when the information comes out so fast. So if you guys have any input on that or whatever, I know Mrs. Reeder's working on that, been working on it for a while. So we will, and so is Chief and everybody else, but we'll kind of pull all the different. I know where Chief's heart is, and all that, but I see we got to pull everybody together. So that's going to be. It's been a long-term process. So I'm excited to see how that's going to kind of come out, and hopefully we never have to use it, but we will be prepared. So, and I think we're prepared now. We'll just fine-tune it. As far as I don't think we have Planning Commission this month. We don't have DRC this month. So. Lucky on those 2 meetings. Anybody have anything they want to report on for this month or from what they saw the last month?
I'll just echo what you said about the events. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if Terry, if you had anything to do with this, or Jeremy. Jeremy's not here, but the Welcome to Arlington sign with the new landscaping looks really, really good. So it kind of makes a big difference, and I appreciate, you guys doing that. So.
Yeah, they look good. Well, they said it would have to be, October, November before we planted, so everything wouldn't die as far as bushes and stuff. So now we just got to be able to, we'll watch, I guess, Public Works go out there with watering spouts during the summer next year. Fire truck can do some training out there. Any announcements from anybody else? All right, so just note that the treasurer's report is on file. Now we're down to the agenda. So we do have one item for the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Mr. Barker. Second by Mr. Biggs. Any objection to the consent agenda? Seeing none, that passes. On to old business. Item A, second and final reading of ordinance 2024-14 to amend the Town of Arlington, Tennessee budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. And we do have a public hearing on this.
All right, this is a second and final reading for your first set of budget amendments for this year. There's no changes between first and second reading. This budget amendment does account for additional revenue, but it also accounts for additional expenses. The majority of this is due to grants that are in place and just the timing of the money coming in and money going out. So staff recommends approval, and we're available for any questions.
Further recommendation by Mrs. Owens. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. McKee, second by Mr. Biggs. All right. Do I have a motion to suspend the board mayor and alderman meeting, open the public hearing? So Vice Mayor McKee made the motion. Second by Mr. Harmon. All right, we are now in the public hearing. This is the public hearing for the second and final reading of ordinance 2024-14 to amend the Town of Arlington budget. This was published in the Daily News on December 10th, 2024. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this particular request and this only, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Anyone here to speak on this? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing and resume the meeting? Motion by Vice Mayor McKee, second by Mr. Barker. Back on the main motion. Any questions for Mrs. Owens? It's pretty standard, cut and dry. All right, seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. Any other old business, Ms. Owens? On the new business, item A, Resolution 2025-2, to confirm our interest in accepting the land donation of 2 parcels of land along the Loosahatchee River. I'm not going to read the parcel numbers, from the Shelby County Land Bank. I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Reeder, and she's going to give us a little background on it.
Good evening. Okay, as you said, background on this is there are 2 parcels that owned by the Shelby County Land Bank. You can see them. Oh man, see if I remember how to use this. The 2 purple ones, top left there. It's in the northwest corner of town, just for orientation. There's the treatment plant and Williamson Park there with the pond on it. The goal of the land bank is to try to get properties back into productive use. So these 2 lots have a lot of restrictions on them, pretty limited because they are right on the river just off. One's 22 and a half, one's a little over 14 and a half. They're both landlocked where they sit. They're also both in a floodway, which means they're extremely restricted in what can be done on those as far as no structures. So passive recreation, open space, greenway, things of that nature. We were made available or made aware of the property here because it was recognized that the town does have a river trail master plan. It's been a little while, but back in 2014, we actually adopted this. Part of that plan, and that's what I've got up here now, shows you, so there's the 2 parcels. The intent of it is to preserve the green space along the river and in other areas through town, but to also add some shared trails to give residents eventually access back down to these, to the river and throughout the town. This section, again, here's the park, treatment plant property that we own, and we have this here. One of the things in our plan is actually to have a trailhead here at the park with some trails and some boardwalks, because if you've been down there, a lot of that's underwater. I think it was recently a couple times. But it does include this piece of property and actually going along the river here, and that's where we have a connection to a north-south trail that's proposed also as along the Cypress Creek. This is a utility, MOGW power line easement through there. So you'll see that the plan originally included an access. So the parcels that were there were offered to us because it was thought they could help facilitate the plan, and it is included in that area there. So what you have in front of you tonight is a resolution that would allow us to request and accept donation of that, which is something the land bank is willing to do. What we are agreeing to in accepting that property is to conserve it as green space. We are also allowing for the potential for us to put some shared use path or some recreational pathway through there in the future, but we're not agreeing that we will build that right of way. It will be available as green space. So that's all I have right now, but I'll answer any questions that I can on it.
You've heard the recommendation by Mrs. Reeder. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Biggs,
Second.
second by Mr. McKee. All right, so for full disclosure, I did talk to Mr. Key the other day. He called and I talked to him, and I know he was interested in this parcel, and I told him that these discussions with us and the land bank have been going kind of back and forth. It kind of, I think it fell through some cracks for a while, and then it kind of came back to light again. And I understood his desire to purchase it, but I was pretty honest with him when I said that it's kind of rare for a municipality or a government to turn down land that's done, even if it's not necessarily usable land at this time that we see fit, but with the greenway trail that we talked about, and just the proximity to our wastewater treatment plant, we never know what TDEC regulations will change or whatever. So I said it's just kind of a hard sell for us to not take it. But I appreciated him calling. I did try to check into a few things. I called Mr. Lawson afterwards and returned Mr. Key's call. So just did want to let y'all know I did talk to him, and I empathize for him because I'm an outdoorsman myself. So But that's, I didn't want you, I did want everybody to know that I spoke with him the other day. Any discussion or questions?
Only thing so somebody had brought this up to me like, I don't know, maybe 5 months ago, 4 months ago, something like that. And so I brought it to Kathy. And to me, at the time when I talked to her, brought this up, it's kind of a no-brainer because we do have this master plan. And it's not like we're like you kind of mentioned, even taking the donation, you're not going to deny it, no matter where it is, probably if it's land. But the fact that this is something that's been, that we have a master plan for, that we would probably have to buy someday if we don't take the donation, it's just kind of a no-brainer that that we should accept this donation.
And we have made some steps since the plan was in place. I mean, we didn't have the park there when we originally adopted this plan, or the land just north of that. So it's been slow going, as it often is, especially with projects like this, but there have been some other steps since this plan was put in place.
Yeah, I think, I know the McKees and myself were on the board when, I think it was Heather was here when John Zena brought this forward, and we had to go through some public input and stuff on the whole Loosahatchee Greenway. And in reality, we know it's going to take grants, because this goes through, I think, Lakeland and not Lakeland and Bartlett and everywhere else along the Loosahatchee that it would go, but it's going to take grants, but you never know when a grant's going to come forward for something like this, so. But it's just the visionary of possible future, so.
Well, if you look at, in Germantown at Wolf River Boulevard, behind the Chick-fil-A, and then farther down Wolf River Boulevard, there's another park entrance that's been put in the last 3 or 4 years. That's kind of what we envisioned when we adopted this, was to create that for, it may be for my grandkids by the time it's done, but, that was the vision behind that, was to be able to create an outdoor recreation thing for, for everyone to be able to enjoy with that. And so I empathize as well, but at the same time, this is a plan that has been public and has been ongoing. And again, like you said, Mike, it's hard to turn down the property that's going to help achieve the goal that we put ahead.
And this was one of our 2 of the lots in phase 1 of the proposed plan. It actually had a suggested phasing schedule, which started with 2 trailheads and some sections off of it. And this is one of the ones they suggested being in phase 1 because of the proximity and what we might be able to do with it, so.
Yeah, and we all know how the process goes of acquiring easements or, and all that, so. Anyway, any other discussion? Anything from there? Okay. All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. Item B, Resolution 2025-3 to authorize the work of and any contract necessary with Tabor Grinder as a construction manager as contractor, which is, I think it's CMR, or CMC, excuse me, to the pre-construction phase 1 to work with Renaissance Group on design and cost estimate for the proposed town hall addition. I think Mr. Lawson's going to handle this, and just know, I do know we have representatives of Renaissance Group here also. I'm not sure if anybody else, Tabor Grinder's here too, sorry.
Again, you'll recall that you authorized, we hired the architect several meetings ago to go through and work on the designs. We had to put out for the CMC, is often the suggestion, the recommendation by staff and the board, to the board is the Tabor Grinder, we hired the construction manager. This is a little bit different than what we
You've heard the recommendation by Mr. Lawson. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Barker. Second by Mr. Harmon. All right, so any questions or discussion for Mr. Lawson? Like I said, we have Grinder, Tabor Grinder, and Renaissance Group here. Appreciate you gentlemen, and Mike, your wife, being here. So, see, she must have been bored on a Monday night, but, so we have the architects and the construction company here. Questions?
So Gerald, the full scope and cost and everything would be brought back to us.
Yeah, so scope has been scope is the plan that we determined, the CMC works to help streamline that, see what the best we can do to, make it, most cost effective, to make it work, and come back with a price, see price of what is good. So we see exactly what we can get, and what price we can get. At that point, you make a determination, forward with the project, which will lock in the contract, finalize contract for that price, or make a determination.
Time frame on, from now until that part? I mean, how long, what type time frame are we looking at?
I've heard March,
2 months, 3 months? Oh, okay. I was hoping to, I was like wondering if we needed to try to have a special meeting to get this thing going. I know originally we were trying to, this is supposed to be the most expedient process to get to the construction process. So I was just, I know we have some challenges there, but, okay.
So when it comes before us with the not to exceed price, that's with the full architectural plan, like we will see everything. So only thing I'm wondering is like, oh, well, I guess it doesn't go before DRC because it's a government building, right?
But basically, input is being taken. I mean, it's.
Going before DRC here and with Jeremy, I mean,
I'm just want to make sure, like, before we get the do not exceed price, that all has been ironed out, that we know and we all approve of what architecturally it's going to look like.
yeah, I know Jeremy's been working, the chairman of the
we've essentially had a policy in place since we did the storm shelter that the town of Arlington would adhere to all construction minimums or greater than what our building materials are. So if you look at the fire department, same thing, right? And so we don't allow ourselves to use, we'll use,
I understand that.
stucco when the rest of
Just me personally, I would like to see it. I mean, if Jeremy he probably knows which one of us are interested in that stuff.
You can come in and see it. You can come in and see it and give any input, but the problem is we're going through DRC that adds a whole nother layer,
Yeah, and I'm not
another
asking
4 or
for
6
that.
weeks to the process.
I'm just
So
asking.
He's out of town this week, but I mean, if we come back next week, I don't know if he has plans on filing with, or if he's already on the way.
we've walked it over, staff and Jeremy with the architects. We walked it. I'm sure that they've talked with Tabor Grinder about it also, but we walked it out, as just in the preliminary stuff. And we said that this is going to have to be a building that meets our standards, that we know that we can't have somebody drive to town hall and say that we just renovated this building and it doesn't look like something that we expect everybody else to do. So I think the standards are there, and we're very much, this is just trying to expedite, instead of having to go to planning commission, having to go to design review like we would for a normal one.
Yeah, I understand that.
I think we did a similar thing with, I know it was different with the fire station, but we still brought in, I want to say the DRC members were invited to come in and see the plans and layout and everything to
Yeah.
give some input before the final thing was brought to before the board. If there were some adjustments that may need to be made, and I would expect the same thing to be offered to DRC and the board to come up here and take a look at plans
Yeah.
before.
But do remember,
That's
to
what I
your
want.
same point, though, our DRC guidelines add to the price of the project, so
Yeah,
that's part of it,
Well,
so.
to me, just briefly, but to me, this is going to be, it's right here, it will be the most visible building that the town has, I think probably, even when we have a town hall at the other location. And so it's just important to me that it looks really, really nice. And so that we can, when we have, other people bring projects to us, they have to walk into a building that exceeds the standard. Like, so they know what we expect when they come here.
Well, do remember, I mean, and I'm not trying to be defensive of the building, but we're gonna do what we can, but if you're saying it exceeds what everybody expects, well, there's old parts of this building that we're just gonna have to put lipstick on to, like, whether it's painted brick or whatever, or something along that line. Otherwise, you're talking about a whole redo of the entire building, so we're only talking from here to there, and then we have to make everything else blend, so
What I'm concerned about is the road frontage.
I know.
That's what I'm concerned about,
If
and
you'll-
that's all gonna be new, so.
If you'll talk, I met with Kathy on some things you're talking about, not just here, the whole corner, including the fire department and everything. There's plans to make it look a lot different. And it needs to be.
So, yeah, I'd suggest when Jeremy gets back in town, I mean, he's, it's an open door in there anyway. You can just go in there and take a look at what they've got, and I'll give her input. Anything else as far as this contract or to authorize this? Any concerns?
No.
Concerns? All right. So, are any other comments before we vote? Let me put it that way. All right. All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. Thank y'all for being here. And y'all can, I know y'all have sit at these things all the time. Feel free to leave if you want. We only got one more item, whichever. Resolution 2025-04 to authorize Mike Wisman in his capacity as mayor to enter into a contract with Tennessee Department of Transportation for the Arlington Tennis Center improvements. Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. We have applied for funds through the MPO for design and NEPA phase of this project only at this point, and have received that funding. This contract covers that. This project will improve the road frontage around our tennis center, essentially curb and gutter from 385 to Milton Wilson, and then on Milton Wilson to where it stops just a little south of the tennis center. So it would give you sidewalk, curb gutter, better pedestrian access. If you think about it, right now there's only one way for pedestrians to get there, and that's at the south end. So this would get better frontage, and we're also going to have a mid-block crosswalk across Memphis Arlington near the front of the tennis center. So that's what the project covers, and this again is NEPA and design phase only at this point.
Gotcha. All right, you've heard the recommendation by Mr. Hill. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Harmon, second by Mr. McKee. Discussion, questions?
I said something to Kathy a few weeks ago, and I didn't even know we were in the process. I know there's some drainage issues there.
Yes, sir.
That, is there a plan to make sure that we're gonna get that water out of the way?
Well, you may need to tell me what drainage issues you've seen. I know the tennis center was built.
Going down Milt Wilson Park, going towards Memphis Arlington. Between the road and the tennis courts.
Okay. There will be curb and gutter down that side and inlets to catch the water down through there. So we will certainly address whatever drainage issues we've had. I haven't really heard of any that much around there, so if there's something specific, please let me know. We'll make sure we get it.
You might talk to Kathy again about it, because she was
Okay.
talking to me about it just a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Because that is the only section there, if you go from Milton Wilson, if you go from 385, that's the only section that's not widened out.
Yes.
The reason I'm looking at it, could be a left turn lane.
Well, I'm just wondering, I know it's just design, but we have a fire hydrant sticking out of the ground, probably about 4 feet there, that just kind of stands up, that the guys would have to do it. So it's just kind of, I'm wondering how the road's going to and how that all blends.
There's a pole just right at the end of it.
Yeah.
too, so.
Is this, the way I read it, it was putting a curb and gutter and sidewalk on the opposite side of where the actual tennis center is?
No, it's all on the frontage of the tennis center.
It's on that, okay.
Just that side of the road. We won't be doing the west side of Milton Wilson.
Okay,
And the north side of Memphis Arlington's already done there.
okay.
I think it'll come down, starting where the West Tennessee homes are, the two homes that
Yes.
were put down to the corner.
That's the intent, just to complete that curb and gutter around that corner.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. Any other new business, Mrs. Owens? All right, do I have a motion to approve the bills for payment?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Barker. Second by Mr. Harmon. Thank you, Mr. Harmon. Any objection to paying the bills? Seeing none, that item passes. These two are in their own conversations down here. And then,
I got that help me out look. So
yeah,
I'm like, okay.
and then, yeah, I look, sometimes last thing, we do have a finance committee's meeting start this month, January 27th. January 27th? Okay, 5:30. All right. I don't know where my brain is. And we possibly have a work session. We are having a work session after that. I know we were tentatively trying to schedule it, so I didn't know if it was set. Okay. Yeah, that'll be the 27th, 5:30 and 6:30. All right, any other announcements? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Biggs, second by Mr. McKee. Any objection? Seeing none, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
No, man. I know. You, I told my wife about it. Right now, we have 3 dogs. 2 of them